question. We will start with Wynn Butler. The question is, if you could eliminate any advisory boards, what board or boards would you eliminate and why?
Good question. We've got a lot of advisory boards in the city. I think if you count, just one was added on the arts. We have 21, and then there's a few others there, and they serve a purpose. And I'm not sure that I would recommend eliminating any of them until I got a good evaluation on what is the actual cost. Now, the city staff spends some time working with each of the boards. And so while these boards appear to be free and not costing us any money, there is a cost associated with all of them indirectly. So I'd like to take a hard look at that. And then the other thing is, are they having an impact? I guess one of the things that would be frustrating if you serve on one of these boards and you go forward and present things to the commission and the results are ignored, then that seems to not be very practical either. So I think what I'd like to do is get back to the problem-solving concept. And I don't have data to stand up here and say, we should eliminate this board or continue this one. I would have to gather all the facts, investigate the situation, and say, okay, are these boards effective? Are they cost-effective? Are they helping the community? Are enough people volunteering for the boards? And you see that on the city website. They've got requests for people to volunteer for a couple of them now. And so if the citizens aren't even volunteering to take part in them, then that should perhaps be a reason to eliminate selected boards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. John Motta, same question.
Yes, like when I don't have any target boards that I'm out going after. But I do think we could look at them and say maybe some board rationalization and figure out, do we need as many as we have? Do we have any overlaps? I mean, there's certain boards you absolutely have to have, like the planning board and things of that nature. And those need to be involved with the city, have an advisor, have someone taking the minutes. But for all the boards, do we need that? I'm not, quite sure. I mean, someone could, we could have a board. It could still come and advise the city commission. It could still use the facilities, but does it have to be one where everybody's appointed by the mayor and has city staff there? In essence, if a board without that stays constituted and stays active, then there's really community interest in it. I mean, if the mayor's having to scrounge around just trying to find people to fill all these things, then, is it really one that's necessary? And I think the fact that it is getting more and more difficult to get people on the boards may be an indication that we have too many.
Thank you, Mr. Motta. Phil Anderson.
I like advisory boards because they advise. They gather information on a particular topic. They discuss it. That's a democratic process. Democracy in Action is a context board. It involves citizens on specific issues and specific boards to advise the city commission. And so I can't think of any reason to eliminate boards. Granted, it is difficult to find citizens who are willing to serve on boards for no money and give up various hours of their time. I serve on the Manhattan Housing Authority. The pay is very low. The time commitment is sometimes considerable, but the responsibility is big. And so I think it's important. I think it's important for citizens to get involved in boards. And so when a mayor calls you and me and asks if you will serve, I think the first response ought to be yes.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Stan Herman.
Well, advisory boards are essential, like the Zoning Appeals Board and the Planning Board and the Airport Advisory Board, and there's a number of them that are very essential. Now, there's some that the mayor's biggest job is to find people for the advisory board. That consumes so much of the mayor's time to do that. And if we're having a hard time finding people on a board, there must be not that much interest in that subject there. So I don't know if just putting all of them in the hat that are on the margin and just drawing numbers and see which one we eliminate, I don't know how the best way to do that. We just have to take a good look. I haven't studied advisory boards to find out which one is not necessary anymore. I can't make any public statement on that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Herman. Rich Jankovich.
I think we heard a quiet comment, there's 26, and I can honestly tell you that I serve on one, I'm the chair of one, and I understand the process. And the idea behind it is to give the commission some voices up. It's not just the mayor, it's the commission that should have that input. And unfortunately, it has fallen on the mayor typically to go recruit people. And as a chair of a board, I try and go out and recruit replacements as they come off. It's my belief that the people serving are the recruiters. And I also look at that as potential bench strength to be up here doing what we're doing right now and answering the questions from you and from others and be involved in the actual commission process. So, I think they're all essential. Are all of them critical and essential? That's hard to tell. I've been to several of them since I have become a candidate, and sometimes I scratch my head. I serve on some others that are not related to the city, and I scratch my head there too. But from time to time, they become very active. And I can tell you, the airport board became extremely active for about 3 years, and I've got to thank my wife for putting up with me for that. But that's how American Eagle Airlines came to Manhattan. So there is a very direct benefit that can come from those.
Thank you, Mr.